Hey, it's Brian Bennett. I'm a pastor and I'm also the founder of Multiply Leaders, a resourcing, coaching, and consulting organization because I'm passionate about helping leaders multiply their influence and unlock their potential in Jesus' name. And in this video, we're going to walk through the replenishment cycle. It's all about refueling our lives so that we can bring our very best every day in our homes, in our workplaces, in our churches, in our communities, in our friendships, in our parenting, in our marriage, wherever we are, whatever we're doing. We've got to refuel the vision of our lives. Otherwise, we can easily find ourselves in burnout, a place that I've experienced multiple times. And I can remember 3 distinct times that I didn't live with boundaries and I didn't practice the replenishment cycle and came very close to stepping out of leadership because I was so fried and so burnt. And we face a lot of pressures, a lot of challenges in our life and as leaders. And it doesn't matter who you are or where you're leading or where you're living, what your family system and dynamics look like. All of us have things that take the leadership out of us, take the energy out of us, take the hope, the strength, the joy out of us. And we've got to make sure that we're refueling so that we can bring our best every single day. We're going to look through 6 different components of who we are as human beings and think of in those categories in emotional, physical, social, mental, spiritual, vocational, and there's a lot of different categories we probably put there, but those are the ones identified for us in this video. In these 6 categories, what are the top replenishers for each of us? That's what I want you to ask the question. What's the top replenisher for me as we start in the emotional category? So we're going to go through each one. I want you to write down, if you have a piece of paper, just write down the category. We do have a PDF tool that we'd love to put in your hands if you email us at multiplyingleaders@gmail.co. So the first category is emotional. What replenishes you? What refuels you? What brings life to you as you think about this category of emotional? 2 things I wrote down is exercise, and even though it's going to show up in the physical again, but exercise really emotionally refreshes and renews me. If I'm emotionally just kind of whapped, if I'm just emotionally kind of dry and feel dead inside, if I get on the treadmill and get a good exercise in, get a good sweat in, my body chemically gets recharged, and I emotionally, my attitude shifts, my demeanor shifts, my hope, my strength, my tank. Somehow exercise puts back into me emotionally because it obviously releases the chemicals. Also, using a journal to journal my emotions is another way that I refresh emotionally. I don't always enjoy sitting down to actually do the journal, but what does refresh me is as I start getting under the surface of my life and I see, wow, that emotion is here and this is happening here and this is what I'm feeling there. What I experience is a little bit of a freedom as I've identified these emotions that were maybe causing anxiousness or causing fear or causing whatever under the surface, but now they've been brought to the surface and I can interact with them. I'm aware of them. So practicing journaling my emotions and also exercise, those are 2 things. What we want to do is identify in this season what's going to be the top replenisher of our life. The next category is physical. And for me, I wrote down 2 things, water and exercise. Water because I drink a lot of coffee and I don't always drink enough water. And for me, if I can start the day drinking, just being filled up with water, it helps my brain function, it helps my energy levels throughout the day. Obviously, it helps with a lot of things like weight loss. But also, if I can get exercise in, that is a keystone habit in my life. That's one of those habits that affects every other habit in my life. So I've got to get exercise in. For you, what is the top replenisher in your life? And get more specific. I'm just giving you examples. Get more specific, like going for a run around the lake. Maybe you live by a lake and you love to run around the lake. Or going for a run in the city. Maybe for you it's working out in my basement and listening to jazz music. Whatever it is for you, identify specifically what replenishes you physically. And socially, for me, I love conversations over coffees. There's a few things that replenish me socially, and one of them is just sitting down with a friend over a cup of coffee and just connecting and talking and listening and sharing our hearts and our dreams and our stories and our pains. And I love doing that with my wife. We love taking date days with her to go do that, or going and grabbing a coffee at maybe a specialty coffee shop with her. But I also love doing that with friends and just being out with others. And so what does that look like for you socially? And what does it look like in this season? What's the top thing that's going to replenish you in this season? And then mental is our next category. For me, when I think about mentally replenishing, sometimes it's reading a more academic work or a more thoughtful work will replenish me because I don't always get to do that. I've got to read a lot of other things in my role. But what really replenishes me, because I'm doing a ton of reading, is art, music, and maybe a movie, a story that I can enter into and kind of mentally get lost in a little bit. It replenishes me where I love to read, and I read a lot of nonfiction. I don't really enjoy reading fiction. A lot of you probably do who are watching. So maybe reading fiction would be for you, but I love watching a great story, or I love being at the art museum or the symphony or anywhere where there's some kind of culturally artistic thing taking place. I love being a part of that. So music, video, story, drama, whatever it is, I love watching it. That refreshes me. For you, what's the top replenisher in your mental category? And then spiritual, key component for me is reading and reflecting. I love to read and then to reflect. And if I can do that, that really re-engages my heart, and it engages for me spiritually my worldview with Jesus, because I'm a follower of Jesus. So it re-engages me and opens me up to the God of the universe. Also, taking walks in the woods and praying and just thinking would be another thing that replenishes me. And then lastly, think about vocationally. What replenishes you at work? Now, we could also think of this as work-life balance or a different category, but I wrote vocation because I think we spend so much time at work. If we can think about what replenishes me at work, what we'll end up finding is that we're feeling more replenished, because work is one of those places we spend a significant amount of time. And for me, new challenges replenish me. Now, if I have too many new challenges, then I start to feel drained instead of replenished. But new challenges for me is one of those things that really replenishes me. For you, it might be just consistent rhythm. If I can get more consistency in my rhythm at work, that would replenish me. The other thing is when I'm operating in my strength zone. And for all of us have a strength zone, and the more that we operate in those strengths for all of us, the more it's going to replenish us. But maybe for you, it's working on a project with so-and-so, and the more you can work on projects with them or spend time around this one mentor in your work, that really replenishes you. Identify whatever it is that's going to replenish you at work. And here's what we want to do then. We can look at a refueling cycle and think about, okay, how can I start exercising more or maximizing journaling my emotions? When am I going to do that? And we can start developing a plan. We can start writing down here, I'm going to journal every day at 8 a.m. before I go do this, or 3 times a week, or whenever, middle of the day. Physically, I'm going to drink 60 ounces of water before I leave in the morning. Socially, I'm going to schedule 1 coffee convo a week or every other week with my friends to do that. Mentally, I'm going to plan once a month to do some kind of mental, or for me, go to the symphony, watch a movie with my wife, go to the art museum, something that mentally is going to refresh me. Spiritually, I'm going to spend daily time reading and reflecting, and I'm going to keep a journal so I can look back and process that. And vocationally, for me, is okay, where's my challenge level at right now? Is it over the top, or is it too low, or is it in the sweet spot? And then what are my strengths that I really want to maximize right now in this season of life? This is the replenishment cycle. It is absolutely essential if you want to be a breakthrough leader, if you want to lead to your highest capacity and potential, that you practice the replenishment cycle. Whether you're a parent, and that's where you're leading, whether you're leading in your workplace or in your church or other community organizations or in your neighborhood, wherever it is that you're leading, whatever the vision is for your life, you've got to refuel that vision and in order to maximize that vision and accomplish the vision, because the vision always comes with challenges and obstacles, but you can do it as you replenish your vision.